Yeah, good to see you, Jay, through a phone. But everything's good, just like everybody else, trying to stay safe and get through this tough time for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a long road from the last month when guys were all ready to get on the field. All our guys, yourself, the high
Yeah,
school guys, the college guys, the youth guys, all our young guys. We got a lot of guys on this call right now that are even from seventh grade all the way through, high school guys. So they're going to enjoy
hmm
this, and I'm going to take you through a little timeline and welcome you right now, guys. This is Nick Dini, Kansas City Royals catcher, and he's our homegrown guy from Jersey who's going to talk a little bit of baseball with us tonight. So, Nick, the first thing I want to talk about is what you've been doing to keep yourself ready, how you're getting ready. You were already prepared during the winter to get out there for spring training, and it got started. And then, unfortunately for everybody, it all got shut down. So take us through what some of the things you might be doing now at this time.
Yeah, this is unprecedented. This is a different. This is different than anything I've had to go through. Or anybody's had to go through. We were in spring training about 2 weeks away from opening up, and when it all shut down. So we're in kind of a holding pattern now. But I mean, everything we're doing is just trying to stay as ready as we can for when baseball deems it safe for us to return. So I mean, I've been fortunate enough that I have somewhere for me to work out with as far as like weightlifting and all that stuff is concerned. And as far as, the baseball activity, hitting, throwing, it's mostly been done outside, just kind of, going with, when you got nice days, you're getting outside, whether it's in somebody's backyard in a cage or at a field throwing. So anything I could do to stay ready and just, you're in a waiting pattern right now, but you got to find a way to stay ready.
Yeah, absolutely. I know, on our end, all of the guys that are on the call tonight have found a way to, whether it's in their backyard, whether they can get over to a field local, where they find a park, where they can keep themselves going. They're doing those things they should be doing, whether even if it's just hitting off the tee. I mean, this is really
Yeah,
the time now, Nick, that it's like the tee becomes your best friend,
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that, a lot of tee, a lot of side toss, if you get somebody that can flip you balls from the side, anything just to keep you moving, keep your swing ready. You put in all that work during the off season and the winter time, and then just as you're gearing up to play games, this happens. So you don't want to lose what you've done throughout the winter. So anything you could do, you got to get creative with things you're able to do. But as long as you can find a way to stay ready.
That's great. That's great. Now, you know what? For everybody, we've had so much downtime. Everybody finds a way to have a little fun that's not baseball related. So we're not just, getting ourselves burned out or too much going on and getting aggravated with our swing, because we all know if we swing too much, before we know it, it turns into something we don't like. So what's something at home that you might be doing that's a little bit fun or a little bit different?
I mean, I've been doing everything. I mean, I've went to the store. We have tons of games here. I'm at home with my family, so we're playing board games at night. I've done puzzles, and I've even, this is a good time for. I've always said I've wanted to read, and I've always made the excuse that, I need to read more, and I just couldn't find the time. And now there's no better time, so I've been trying to read a little bit. You know what I mean? Trying to learn new things. So anything to stay busy, video games, like I'm sure most of your guys are doing, but anything to pass the time, really.
That's great, man. We have, looks like we're well over 30-something guys on the call. I don't know on your end if you could actually see the participants who are on there and what device you might be using, but you got some guys on there, some guys who actually worked with you this past winter. And, this is a lot of our Jersey Giant family who, we trained at the dugout, and a lot of guys are familiar and get a chance to see you. So it's great. Right now, this is great for them to be able to hang here with us and chat a little baseball, talk a little life, So for you, when it started when you were in high school, where we have a lot of guys right now, we got guys that are about to get into high school or in high school already. They're doing their high school thing. After getting through high school, making your way through college, getting into professional baseball, if there was something that you would do now that you realized after all these years about how you go about it? What are some of those things you might think about doing?
What I see, the biggest thing for me, like I was always I would just swing all the time. When I was in high school, middle school, like I was always swinging. I love to hit. But what I never did was really focus on taking care of my body. And, in high school I had gotten Tommy John surgery my junior year of high school, and I gained a lot of weight, and, physically was limited on what I can do just from what my body would allow me to do. But now there's such an emphasis on taking care of our bodies with how much baseball games we actually play. You know what I mean? Nowadays, guys are playing even at the high school level right now, maybe 100 games with how much baseball is going on. So really, finding a way to take care of your body and whatever that may be in the weight room, a lot of mobility stuff, whatever it is to take care of your body is really important. And if you could do that at a younger age, I feel like it would have prepared me more for where things are right now. You go to college, strength programs and all that stuff is prevalent there. So for me, it would be the importance of taking care of your body in the weight room and mobility and stretching and all that kind of stuff.
Great. That's great. That's great information and reinforcement for a lot of these guys. And like you said in the beginning, you would just swing, and you realized that taking care of the body is so important, and also to work on the other things, things you might want to do a little better besides hitting, or understand that, it's going to be a process for as you moved on, So then you're out of high school now. You went to Monroe High School, and now we're taking you on a timeline. So then what was in there that made the decision for you to end up at Wagner College? Why'd you choose Wagner? What was the process like?
So, like I said, at my junior year of high school, I got Tommy John surgery. So, and back when I was in high school, it was a little different. I think that with the explosion of social media and how available, everything is nowadays to these college coaches, it wasn't like a full year round process to where, you're getting your name out there and you're showing through all these different apps, these recruiting videos and all this stuff of what you could do. So we really relied on our high school season and summer ball, and that was really it. And when I got surgery my junior year, so I didn't play the field my whole junior year. I DH'd, and at that time, I don't think there was much of a market for 5-6, designated hitters. So, I put up pretty good numbers offensively, but like I said, I wasn't playing a position. And then, as my senior year started, I started getting back playing defense and throwing again and stuff. And I was in a fall ball game, and luckily a recruiter saw me from Wagner and brought me on a visit, and that was really my only visit. I committed in November of my senior year. I had one other visit to University of Rhode Island, but Wagner was my only offer, and I just jumped on it as soon as I can.
Nick, that's something that I really want to repeat what you just said, or have you repeat it, because on the call right now, we've got a whole bunch of juniors. Right now, they're going into their junior summer. And, we have somebody on the call who's coming back from Tommy John, and he's, fully recovered as a pitcher. We've got a whole team of guys who are going into their junior summer. And you just said, when was it when you made that decision, and when was it when you signed? Tell them again when that was.
Yeah, that was the fall of my senior year. So, and this is, like I said, this is a unique situation for everybody. We don't know if there's going to be high school seasons or what's going to go on. So, I think it's really important for you guys to, trust the process. That's the biggest thing. You're not the only guys in this situation. This is countrywide, and, guys are going through the same thing. So don't, I know it's crazy, but don't freak out. I was in that position where I'm like, oh, I gotta, you gotta commit. You think you gotta commit by a certain time, and you start pressing. But trust me, you hear stories all the time of guys that played their senior year of their senior seasons, April, May, in their senior season, with no commit to a college. You know, and then they commit to a college. And I know guys that are on the cusp of being in the big leagues. So, you know, everyone's path is different. You know, everyone's timeline is different. There's no rush. You know, whatever's meant to be will happen. And you know, just focus on the present. Don't worry so much about, you know, where you're going to end up. Just live in the moment.
That's great. You know, I know with our guys in the organization that I have itself, with having a bunch of different teams, especially with the younger teams, I like to promote that a guy plays more than one position, maybe two or three. You know, if he's an infielder, he needs to have another position. He's not just one position, a one-position guy only. And I know you've played both, the middle infield, and you made it to the big leagues as a catcher. So tell us a little bit about that transition.
100%. I mean, I was happy when I saw that you brought that up, or that when you texted me that question, because I think it's so important. You know, it's crazy to see that guys are, you know, labeling themselves as, you know, a pitcher only or an outfielder only at 12, 13 years old. You know what I mean? I think when you play all over the diamond, it just makes you a more versatile, and it you learn the whole game as opposed to just one spot of the game. You know what I mean? Like in high school, I played every position except pitch, every single position. In my freshman year, I was playing third base and outfield, and then my sophomore year, I'm playing shortstop and center, and then I start catching my senior year, playing a little left. I played all over the place. College, I came in as a second baseman. My sophomore year, I played third base. Catcher goes down. Oh, I caught a little bit in high school. They put me behind the plate. I get drafted as a catcher. You know, so I think it's so important to play as many positions as you can, learn the game from different perspective. You know, and that's my opinion on that. I think you got to play as many positions as you can.
Yeah. I think too, you know, you just brought up another point about being drafted, and, you know, you're a college player when you get drafted, and how many years of college baseball were you behind the plate before that? You know, that's you know, you had a year and a half in probably of catching, you know, college baseball pitchers.
Yeah.
And, you know, fortunate to have a scout who really believed in you, you know, and gave you that opportunity, you know.
Absolutely.
Tell these guys what it was like, you know, that day in June, right? It's the June draft, and you don't know what to expect, right? And how that process worked.
Yeah, so I just finished my senior year. The season was over, and I've been in contact with a bunch of teams, and I was going through pre-draft workouts probably the whole week prior to the draft. I mean, for a week straight, I was going all over the place to these pre-draft workouts, and you know, I was, you know, nervous. I was anxious, and you know, waiting for the draft. And then when the draft happens, you know, you hear a lot of things from, you know, these scouts of where they think, you know, you project to go in the draft. So I mean, I knew day one was the first and second round. I knew that was not going to happen. But I mean, from day two, I was, you know, I'm sitting on my couch and I'm just watching the draft tracker go off, and, you know, I'm sitting there waiting, and nothing happens when you're told, you know, that you could go here. So then for like the first 2 days of the draft, I'm kind of, you know, just anxious and sitting around waiting for something to happen, and, you know, driving myself crazy. And then the third day of the draft, I had gotten up, I went and got breakfast with my mom, and then I went for a run, actually. And I was on a run because I didn't want to sit like I was the 2 days prior, just staring at my phone at some draft tracker. So I'm on my run, and my phone starts going off. People start texting me, congratulating me, and I had no idea what happened. So I look at my phone, and then I go to the draft tracker, and I had seen that I got drafted by the Kansas City Royals in the 14th round. And it was funny because that was one of the teams that I didn't do a pre-draft workout for. And then so they drafted me, and then it was, you know, my whole family came home, or I came home to my whole family, and then we had all of family, friends over the house, and, you know, we were celebrating. So it was a special day for sure.
I can imagine that. I can imagine it being like a Sunday afternoon in an Italian household.
And absolutely. Pasta all over the place.
Yeah, there we go. That's great. That's
Let's
great.
get
Who was the scout, the area scout? You know, who was the scout that actually put you in the draft? Who were you giving credit to?
Yeah, his name's Bobby Gandolfo. I've never, if I passed him in the street, I wouldn't know who he was. I couldn't put a face to the name, and he's no longer even with the Royals organization. So, but yeah, his name's Bobby Gandolfo.
Yeah, yeah. So you know, for the guys listening, it's the old saying that's long before you or I, Nick, and I'm a lot older than you, but long before us were around. That old saying of "you never know who's watching,"
100%,
and
100%.
yeah, and you know, and there's another good one that goes by. You know, this might be the last time they ever see me. You know, so I want to make the best impression. You
Yeah,
know, so
100%.
So with your experience at Wagner, it was Coach Carone, right? Your experience at Wagner was
Hmm.
pretty good, right? We have a couple guys on the call right now. There's at least two I know that are very interested in Wagner, and
Hmm.
not just Wagner, but there are guys who are interested in college baseball. So talk a little bit about that, a little bit about your experience at Wagner and just college baseball itself.
College baseball, I mean, aside from playing in the big leagues, college baseball is the most fun I've ever had playing baseball. I think, college baseball, um, it's all about the team. You create lifelong relationships. It truly is a brotherhood with all those guys. You're with, and especially for me, I came into college and there was 20 freshmen in my class. So there was 20 of us going through it all. The program was kind of in turnaround when we got there. And we actually got recruited by Joe Laterio, who after the fall of our freshman year, he left to go to Rutgers. So, we went through two different head coaches. Just you go through everything together, especially a small school like Wagner. You're going to class together, your lifts, practices, everything. You do everything with those guys, and it really teaches you, how to play team baseball, because in college it really is all about winning. And that's a shell shock, because you go through college and you do that. It's so much about a team, and then you get to professional baseball and in the minor leagues, and you still have those, that thought of baseball as a team game, but you have to be a little bit selfish in minor league baseball, because everybody's trying to reach the ultimate goal of getting to the big leagues. And it's sometimes you lose sight of the team aspect of the game, because you're worried so much about your own individual success and where you're progressing and where you're going, that gets away. And then that love for the game and that will to win and just winning games, that came back this past year when I went to the big leagues, and that's all it's about, winning. But as far as college goes, it's I to this day, some of my best friends in life are guys that I played with at school, and some of the best times in my life were college baseball. So this is an exciting time for a lot of you guys. College baseball, and it's a ride, and it's a fun ride. So, look
Yeah,
forward to it and keep working towards it.
they become your second family. You know, your
That's it.
college teammates become your second family, and
Hmm.
you know that relevance for minor league baseball, just on the team relevance. I've seen that in this last decade now with travel baseball, as you were talking about before. You know, it was so different when you were in high school from what it is now, as far as just the recruiting process, social media, everything.
Yeah.
But I see it a lot with a lot of travel teams, that it's, every man is out for himself kind of thing, and it isn't the second family attitude.
Yeah.
I'm,
Hmm.
I'm fortunate, Nick. I have to say, I'm fortunate that we have a great group of guys amongst all the teams, and
Hmm.
the coaches really keep it that way. That they are, it's a tight knit group with all our guys. We got
Hmm.
there's some good guys on the call right now, and I see a couple of your students are on the call. I know little Liam is on the call. Our guy Liam,
Liam,
I see
I
him out
see,
there.
I see Cangelosi's on there.
Cangelosi's on there. Yep, there you go.
Cangelosi's on there. Yep. What's up, guys?
Guys, you could always give a wave back to Nick. I saw Travis was on there too before. I know he's
Oh,
in here.
Fuller's on there?
I saw his name on here before on one of them, so I don't know if he's still on, if it goes in and out sometimes for them. But
Yeah.
So yeah, he's on there. Travis is on there.
Oh, there he is with the Storm Chaser hat on. There he is. So cute.
That's great. That's great. So, getting that call up from the minor leagues, you're all of a sudden it's a new world for you. So
Oh, yeah.
before you get to the big leagues, what's the cities, some of the cities or stadiums or fun things that you might remember from the minor leagues?
Oh, yeah. The minor leagues takes you all over the place, man. I mean, my journey started, I was in Idaho Falls for rookie ball. I mean, I was in Idaho in the Pioneer League. I'm going to states like Montana and or Utah. I was in Idaho, so I'm in that whole different part of the country that I've never been. And then, my second year I was living in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah.
And then I went to our double A was in Northwest Arkansas, and our triple A is in Omaha, Nebraska. So I mean, I've been all over the place, man. And it was funny because the only level that was anywhere close to New Jersey was our high A in Wilmington, Delaware, and I had skipped high A. I went from low A to double A, so I didn't even get a chance to play any games at home. But it's been fun. You go to places. Baseball, for one thing, has taken me places that I probably would have never been in my life. So I've seen a lot, and it's I'm grateful for that.
That's great. That is great. So talk about the day, and I would imagine it was your minor league manager at the time,
Yeah.
when you got called up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We had just finished a road trip. We were in Tacoma and Reno, Nevada. We get home, we go back to Omaha, and I show up to the field, and I'm slated to catch that day, and we go out for batting practice and all the game stuff, and we come in, and I'm in line waiting for food, and I had actually gotten a text from one of my buddies who I had come up with, who was in the big leagues at the time, and told me that one of the catchers went down up there in batting practice, and so when I saw that, like, my heart kind of stopped, because I'm like, oh man, like this could be, this could be it. I could be getting a call today, and I was hitting pretty well at the time, playing good, and so I'm sitting there waiting, getting my food, and my manager calls me in, and when you're in AAA, and a manager calls you into the office, usually like it's funny, it's like a scene in a movie. The whole clubhouse just like goes quiet, like looks over, and then you go in. And he told me, he was scratching me from the lineup. And I was meeting a team in Detroit the next day, and I gave him a big hug, and I went out into the clubhouse, and everybody was there waiting. I kind of just gave like a nod, like, yeah, it was happening, and everybody kind of went crazy for me. So that was an awesome experience. And then, calling my family and them going crazy, and taking the drive out to Detroit. I made my debut in Detroit the next day, and yeah, it was pretty awesome. And I didn't get much sleep that day or that night, or didn't eat much, because I was so anxious and ready to go. And yeah, that was the call up story. So it was a special day for sure, and I was happy to have my whole family there.
Yeah, that's great. That is so much fun. Like, it's the experience for you that you're going through that with your family, like they're sharing in that experience. That's
yeah.
They're right there they're in your uniform with you, going through it. It's unbelievable. Like, for some of these guys on the call, they're smart enough to know when I send out, if we're going to have a call in, we're going to have a guest, if I send out who the guest is, these guys are so excellent at being quick in technology. They're going to immediately Google, search, YouTube, and pull you up, see whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So just in research alone, there's the great video out there of when you hit your first home run in the big leagues, and your family just so excited, going crazy in the stand, right? And it's it's a it's a lot of Jersey pride, right? Yeah, so
absolutely,
that's a lot.
Yeah,
That's
that was in Baltimore.
So we all know the time we have
with you the whole step of the way.
Yeah, that's great. And probably the same when you were these guys' age, going through whether it be rec ball, little league, travel ball, I don't know. Did you make the trip to Cooperstown back then? Did you do that by any chance?
Yeah, yeah, I went to Cooperstown, I think, when I was in sixth grade or seventh grade,
Yeah.
one of those. But yeah, I went to the tournaments at All-Star Village. You're staying in the barracks, playing baseball for 6 straight days, seeing the Hall of Fame. That was an awesome trip, man. It really was, and that's something I'll always remember for sure.
Yeah, and a bunch of these guys are, some of them just did that this past summer, last
Yeah,
summer
yeah.
in 2019, and they all pretty much have gone through doing that already. Everybody that's on the call right now with us, and it's crazy too because New York State has already closed them down for this summer. They're already closed. They're not
Oh,
going to have.
really?
Yeah, this will be the first year in a long, long time that there will be no Dreams Park, All-Star Village, either site. They've already been shut
Yeah.
down. So that's tough. But, when we all get the chance to get back to the baseball field, the passion, I can't imagine the passion everybody's going to have. It's going to be unbelievable. I can't wait to get back.
That's what I think too. I think with seeing, baseball is so monotonous, and there's so much that goes into it, and as you know, Jay, like what it takes to maintain, a swing, throwing, pitch, whatever it may be. Like baseball, it's nonstop. And I think sometimes with, when you're caught in that grind of it, you kind of take for granted how much you love it, and how much you need baseball, and that kind of scapegoat from everything else that's going on. And I think with everything going on right now in the country, I think that once it's all cleared and we get to go to, proceed with baseball and everything else, that I think you're going to see a new passion in a lot of people, because it kind of feels like baseball, it's been taken away from us, and when, those times are trying, and, it's day 55 in the summer, and you don't feel like going and playing that day. Gratitude just towards the overall outlook of the game, just because, guys will remember this time and that they couldn't, the game's been taken away from them. They couldn't play. So I couldn't agree more. Even me, I'm a victim of that as well. And I can't wait to get back.
Yeah, it's just something that, we just took for granted, now we really get it. And it's going to be like some hot summer days in July, August, or whatever, and these guys will be playing in tournaments and, double header on certain days, and they're just going to remember this time now and not even care what the temperature is.
Absolutely not.
Care. They're just going to want to be out there and getting it done,
For sure.
Talk to me a little bit about this. The catcher is called the field general. The catcher is a leader. Right now on MLB Network, they're featuring the Boston Red Sox Game 6 versus the Cincinnati Reds, 1975, one of the greatest games ever. Johnny Bench is a catcher in that game, and Carlton Fisk, who hits the winning home run down the left field line, is the other catcher, and they're both leaders and played a long, long time. So, you're a catcher. You got to the big leagues as a catcher. You got to handle the pitching staff and also just be a leader, What's that like for you? What was that like with some of those big guys?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I was fortunate to be in a situation where most of the guys that that I had played previously with in AAA that year were in the big leagues from the pitching side. Our organization right now is in kind of turnover, trying to rebuild and get back to a World Series. So a lot of young guys are getting a lot of opportunity, and most of those guys I had played with in AAA. So I've developed relationships with them playing with earlier in the year. But I tell all the guys that, a couple of the catchers that are on the call right now, I tell them all the time that, catching's the only position on the field that everybody's looking in at you, so anything you do, everybody sees it. So there's no you can't hide back there. You know what I mean? If you can't take an at bat or whatever it may be, pass ball, you can't take that into the next pitch because everybody's looking, and that, your body language and how you're presenting yourself is on full display. Everybody could see it. So from that point of view, you have to be a leader. You have to do the right thing, and because everybody could see it. And just catching in general, it's a lot, and that's another thing too that I had wish I did. Another thing I tell the catchers too is I had wish when I was their age I put as much time into doing that as I did hitting, because I didn't really do much catching. It was just go in a game and catch. You know what I mean? There was no, trying to refine the tools that it takes to catch. It was just, okay, go back there and catch. But as those guys know, there's so much that goes into it, and a lot of work goes into it. But most importantly, just from that position, I think it's having the trust in your pitching staff. Your pitching staff's got to be able to trust you. They got to know that you're on the same page with them, and try to build relationships with them. Because it goes a long way when a pitcher sees you going up to him and talking to him about what he likes to do, or what he's thinking on the mound. And when you can get on a mound, when a pitcher can get on a mound and not have to think and just go along with the game with you, it's going to make his job a lot easier. So just the communication side of it, you got to be in the game every pitch. There's no, you can't take pitches off playing that position. So all those things go into, that job of being the catcher for sure.
That's great. That's great, Nick. Billy, if you could unmute the mics for a second, everybody's mic, that would be good. So, Nick, this was wonderful. This is great to be able to get to talk to you. I'm going to get some background noise now. If anybody has a question, if you don't have a question, then you can mute your microphone. See if we got some final questions for Nick. Whoever might have a question out there. Maybe even a catching question. Maybe I'll go to Colby, see if Colby wants to ask a question on catching. Aiden's got his mic on too. Aiden, you have a question for Nick?
Yeah. In high school, what were your favorite drills to work on blocking baseballs to do?
Blocking baseballs, I always say blocking is a mentality. You can work on blocking all you want and the form of blocking, and that's great, but blocking is a mentality, and it's mental preparation when you get in game. If you're working out at the dugout, there's the luxury of having the machines there. So just setting up machines, blocking balls off the machine. I like to start guys with just the technique of blocking, and you could get somebody to roll a ball to you and just work on the fundamentals of blocking. Glove down first, head follows, knees go down at the same time, that kind of stuff. Just break it down, start slow. You know what I mean? I usually start with rolling guys the ball just to make sure their body's working together. Practice your body control when you're blocking. But I think when it comes to blocking in a game, it's just knowing what your pitcher's pitches do. You know what I mean? So anticipating a block, and just that mental, that you have to want to block the ball. So I think a lot of it is just mentally, challenge yourselves. I say to the catchers all the time, challenge yourself to catch perfect games. I don't mean nobody reaching base. I mean not giving up 90 feet, whether that be balls in the dirt, you block every ball. There's no pass balls and throw guys out. Challenge yourself every day, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen every day, but if you have that mindset of challenge yourself every day, I want to catch a perfect game, I don't want to give up 90 feet, you'll start seeing that, your anticipation for balls in the dirt, you're more aware, and you'll block some more balls just on sheer will. So prepare for it, and mentally just be ready to block all the time.
All right. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. I know, let's see. Coach Chad, I see Coach Chad has his microphone on. I don't know if he has a question for you. He's on right now. If not, Robbie might have a question. Robbie's on also.
Yeah, I got a question.
There he is. There he
first
is.
off, how's things been, Nick, and how have things been?
Good, man. Same stuff. Just kind of waiting to get going, like you guys.
Yeah,
staying safe.
Mm-hmm. So we did obviously a bunch of drills catching in the winter and everything, But what are some things that you've been doing to keep like your swing in check and everything like that? Like to keep everything going with your swing? Like what are your favorite drills you've been doing like during this kind of time you got going on?
Yeah, good question. Like me and Jay were talking about, man, off the tee, just the tee is my best friend right now. You don't need much with the tee, you know what I mean? Find a net, bucket of balls on the tee, and just it's more about just keeping that rhythm of your swing and the mechanics of your swing. I've been doing a lot of I watch a lot of video. So at this time right now, when you have a lot of downtime, man, watch how the best guys swing. Watch what they do. Try to pick up something from the best guys in the world. So I've been doing a lot of that, just watching how, different guys move and how they get to the same. Like the thing I've noticed from every hitter, every great hitter is everyone gets to the same spot. So, and if you can watch some video and try to pick out where these guys are trying to get to, that spot they're trying to get to, where they could, best deliver the barrel. So I've been watching a lot of video, and like I said, man, just a lot of tee work. There's really not much else we could be doing at this time. So that's what I've been doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, man.
Joe Bardos, you got something, Joe?
Yeah. So are you going to be starting in the majors once the season starts?
No, I won't be starting there. I don't know what's going to happen, man, with the season. I don't know. They're talking about maybe playing a season in Arizona and having expanded rosters. So I have no idea. But I mean, we got Salvador Perez, a 6-time Gold Glover and World Series MVP, coming back. So he's going to be doing most of the catching for us this year.
Okay.
We know you'll be ready though, no matter what kind of season they put together.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do we have anybody else? I think that might be it in the questions. Anyone else? Pretty good. We had over 50 guys on this call, 50 people, I should say,
Awesome.
on this call right now. And that was great, Nick.
Awesome.
So we want to
Thanks
thank
for
you,
having me, Jay.
from our Jersey Giant family. We want to thank you, buddy. This has been great for all of us.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to talk to you guys, and good luck to all you guys, man. Stay safe and stay ready. Baseball will be back soon.
Thanks, Nick. Stay safe, pal. We'll see you. Thank you.
You got it. Thanks, Jay.
You got it.
Thank you.